welcome to the second session in track 2. My name is Laurent Burdin from SinnerSchrader, and I'm very happy to welcome Darius Miranda from Wells Fargo Bank in San Francisco. So we're really glad to have you here.
Thank you.
You know, there are a lot of banks colleagues in the room, and they're going to fill the room and have many questions, I guess. Darius is heading the internet services of the wholesale and commercial bank part of Wells Fargo. And he's going to give us best practice of how to work with, well, internet, intranet, consumer-facing.
Yes.
And therefore, you name this session customers talking. But I think you're going to talk about the SinnerSchrader you told me yesterday.
Yes.
And this is where I pass on to Darius.
Thank you, Laurent. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Darius Miranda. I'm from San Francisco, California, and I work for Wells Fargo Bank. And just what I'd like to focus on today is more about the customer. Before I worked at Wells Fargo, I worked for an investment company in Los Angeles. It was for 11 years, and probably my most challenging job was managing the call center. So when I moved to Wells Fargo and found out they were really big on the customer, it was something that it fit right in for me. So just to explain, Wells Fargo has it's a big bank. With the new merger, we have about 250,000 employees or team members. So with that, there's 3 divisions. One is retail, which is consumer, your credit card, your checking account. Then there's small business. And what I work for is a group called wholesale. And wholesale is middle market and large commercial customers. So with this, I'd like it to be more of a discussion if possible. I probably will only speak for the next 15 minutes. And through this discussion, if you have something you'd really like to share, I'm more than happy to listen. But through this, I do want to talk about our inside-out approach to B2B social media. I mentioned that Wells Fargo is 250,000 team members, and that's larger than most communities itself. So one of the things is taking an inside-out approach. I want to talk about Wells Fargo blogs and how our theme is to join the conversation. It's not just us talking to the public. We'd like them to talk back. I'm going to talk about some best practices for customer engagement. Our theme is listening to the customer, listening to the voice of the customer, and I'm going to talk about a new site we're launching this month. It's going to be at the end of the month called the Wells Fargo Business Circle. So let's just talk about the social media approach first. Enterprise. We talk about enterprise, it's the entire bank. There's a gentleman by the name of Ed Turpening, and he heads our social media group in the experiential marketing group. And what he's done, thankfully for my group, he's already developed that social media policy that the entire bank can follow. One of the things that's really important, and this is probably one of the best practices, how many here are B2B? How many come from large companies, let's say more than 5,000 employees? Okay, and you know, how many come from financial services or banks? Okay, so you know, things don't always move very quickly. And one of the things that we've learned through this whole social media process is to engage compliance and risk management from the beginning. If you have an idea, once you have that project definition, bring someone from compliance in. So this way they can identify some of the risks ahead of time, and you never fall behind. You'll always hit your target dates. So also, just so you know, we have to have, every time we publish something online for Wells Fargo, we have to have it run through legal and compliance. And I have it down. We have a good relationship with them, so we can have things turned around in 24 hours, sometimes same day. And then know your audience. Our audience, they use our commercial banking portal. It's called the Commercial Electronic Office. You may hear I will refer to it as the CEO blog, Commercial Electronic Office, the banking portal where you do things, big companies. It'll be either large software companies, energy companies, government agencies. They will use our bank in order to do their banking need, their treasury management. So it's processing checks, electronic payments, things of that nature, processing wires. So that's our audience. We had to understand who they were. Our inside-out B2B approach. We're going to test these social media tools. We're going to test them in-house first. If our team members don't get it, our customers probably won't get it. So we started with team members. We started with wikis. And this is how it happened. There were a couple people from my team. They noticed another part of the bank using wikis. We asked if we could use it too. So that was the start of using social media tools internally. And then started with project sites. Some of the uses for wikis, they used it in very different ways. So somebody mentioned yesterday, I think it was, no, this morning, Brian Solis mentioned it's about sociology, it's not about technology. So you have a wiki, but people use it in different ways, and that's okay. The way that I used to use it is I used to document all my meetings in a wiki, have follow-up, and people would add to that, but it was one centralized space instead of sending email back and forth. So this was in 2005 and 2006. We started using social media internally. This is what our intranet looks like today. It's called the Internal Commercial Electronic Office, or ICEO. We have a video every week. Let's see, we have a lot of collaboration tools. But if you notice there, at the top, Steve Ellis. It's also him pictured there, Steve Ellis. His blog, he's a surfer. He's also the head of wholesale services. So how many of you here can say that you actually like your boss? Show of hands. Well, I not only like my boss, I like his boss. I like his boss, and I like her boss, which is Steve Ellis. So he's a guy in Birkenstocks. He likes to travel around the country and visit customers. So this is in 2005. Back Steve Ellis, 2005. We started blogging. It was just internally first. And so Steve Ellis would travel the country, and he would give us a report, the lay of the land. He would talk about the landscape, how green it was, how rainy it was. And also at the same time, he would let us know how customers are using our services differently. And he would, this was part of the roadmap for success. The second blog, it's a customer service blog. 2 or 3 times a week, we would have customer service managers, and they would just talk about the different customer experiences they had. And that was really important. They weren't always kudos.